Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel for some more PGA Tour 2K25. Today we are going to be checking out Sunrise Valley, which is designed by Angus Young14. But just before we do get underway, I do just want to mention a couple of things really quickly. That firstly, this video is done, or is getting done in the same fashion as the previous video, so I'm doing all my commentary after recording the round. I'm doing this in DaVinci Resolve. I'm still playing around with transitions, audio mixing, all that sort of stuff to get a full handle and grip on the software, if that's one way to put it. And secondly, just because kind of molding into what I just said about getting used to DaVinci Resolve, is that the next video will not, I'll say that again, will not be PGA Tour 2K25 video. Haven't decided exactly which game it's going to be yet, but it is actually going to be one of the games I'm playing over on PC itself. Possibly, maybe it might be one from the PS5 and I'll transfer it across, but either way, yes, it's mainly also, it'll more than likely be a PC game just because I want to mess around in OBS, getting used to recording through that software as well. So if you fancy checking that out, go right ahead. If you want to give it a miss, go ahead and give it a miss. But if it does get depending on which one I decide to do, if it does get a reasonable response in terms of views and stuff like that, and people are interested, maybe I might make a little series out of it. But anyway, with all that out of the way, as I did mention a moment ago, should I say, we are going to be playing Sunrise Valley, which is designed by Angus Young14 today. So let's go ahead and check out the course conditions. So, Sunrise Valley is a par 72, measuring 7,028 yards from the tips, which are the blue tees. That's where we will be playing from today. The fairways are going to be soft, the greens are firm, the green speed is medium fast, weather is clear, and the time of day is dawn. And just before I do forget to mention it, because I usually always do, especially for those of you who may be new to the channel, we are going to be playing on Master Swing. We keep everything at default. Also, we will be playing on pin set number 1, and the bag that we're going to be using for this round is my Hickory clubs. So let's get ourselves down onto the course and see what we have in store. So to kick off the round, hole number 1 is a downhill par 4. It measures 388 yards. We're teeing it off over water. Some lovely rock work both sides of the water there. And those two trees that we're just panning past now should be our general aim point off the tee. One large bunker guarding the fairway on the right-hand side. That one's the main threat. Bunkers both sides of the fairways, but shouldn't really pose much of a problem unless we've got a really strong crosswind either direction. Bit of a small green to approach into, but playing downhill, just those two small bunkers then guarding the front. But again, you should be more than comfortably getting over those. So as you can see, as I did mention, it is playing quite a bit downhill, 49 feet down off the tee. Got a 6 mile per hour wind in the face. And I will just say as well that this is actually probably going to be more of a reaction video now at this stage, because I actually recorded this gameplay a week ago today as I'm recording this now. I just have not had the chance to. I've only just finished editing the holes together. A bit of a pull off the tee, should I say, so we are into the heavy rough. But yeah, I had just not got the chance to properly edit the video, and then we've had a bit of a heat wave here, and it's been absolutely killing. Stiflingly hot in the room, so even having the computer on, I just haven't been able to be near it for too long. But yeah, so it's going to be a bit more of a reaction video at this stage as I do the commentary now. A little bit of a push off the tee there again, but just about managed to bounce onto the tee. I did it a few times throughout the round that I can recall that I wasn't really paying attention, but being in the rough wasn't compensating for that enough. So we rolled on towards the back of the green. It's left us with an 18-foot putt up 2 inches. Green speed is 155. So should be no more than about just 1.5 out from the hole. A little bit of a pull off the puller face again, but we'll drop that in and we'll get our first birdie on the scorecard. So hole number 2 is our first par 3 of the round, measuring 132 yards. Plenty of water in place, some lovely planting off the tee as well. And we have just got two little bunkers, should I say, not lone, but little bunkers guarding the front of that green. A little bit of a bailout area on the fairway there. Again, kind of a smallish green, but more than attackable pin location for number 1, or pin set number 1, should I say. So wind has died down 2 miles per hour from the back. So gonna keep it. If I remember correctly, I did keep it pretty stock. I can't remember if I put some spin on. A little bit of spin. And just wanting to really get it on the green. All I know is that the gallery to the right of the green, if I was playing real life, they would want to certainly have helmets on because I would probably hit them. But nice shot into the green, 130 yards off the tee. That's going to leave us with 9 feet to the hole. A little bit out, maybe about half. Tap it in, get ourselves a second birdie. And as you will notice there as well from the scorecard, as we move on to hole number 3, I'll mention it now in a second, but this is our second par 3 of the round, measures 174 yards. Again, lovely planting and the bridge leading across towards the green. Big bailout area, 4, 5 bunkers, really only one of them. That one there to the right of the green should be posing any sort of a problem. But again, nice central pin location for number 1. So more than attackable. But yeah, you may have noticed there on the scorecard, just before we transitioned onto this hole, that it's a 666 format, or layout, should I say, for the course. So we got 6 par 3s, par 4s, and par 5s. Not very often I should play a course that sort of layout. I can't remember the last time I did. It's usually the 10-4-4. But so it's nice to mix it up a little bit with the different sort of format or configuration of holes. Well, we get ourselves nicely onto the green there. I wasn't even paying attention to how well I struck the ball, but we are left with a 25-foot putt. Again, not much break in it. Playing slightly downhill, 2 inches down. Bit of a dodgy swing. And we'll just burn that right edge. Doesn't go too far past though. And that's going to leave us 5 feet back for the par. And we'll drop that one on in. So hole number 4 is going to bring us our first par 5 of the round. And as you can see, it's 451 yards. So I want to kind of deem this as a bit of a deceptively short par 5, because as you can see, we're just coming up here, that bunker there on the left. It is quite a steep uphill, and you will see in a moment, I do play 3-wood off the tee. I think I might have gotten away with a driver. If I had a strong tailwind, definitely 3-wood all day. But another bunker there on the left of the fairway, as we wrapped around, we're heading down towards the hole. A couple of little bunker splash there again, and 2 again, once again guarding that front side of the green. A little bit of a smallish to medium-sized green, 3 guarding the right, 3 bunkers guarding the right-hand side there again. But we got a little fairly attackable pin. There is a decent bit of run out, but as you see, we got a 5-mile-per-hour headwind as we're teeing off over this one. And I do want to point out as well that I don't know, Angus, if you are watching the video yourselves or any designers, please do tell me. I will point it out here and there. I'm not sure if it's just a texture issue or if it's done purposely for designing, but you'll see on the left there, just off to the left of that bunker, excuse me, I don't know if that is the default textures that are supposed to be heavy rough there, or it's bringing what I call the carpet effect back in, where the textures aren't loading properly, but it seems off to me. But you will notice that regularly throughout the rounds. So be interesting to know, because I'm not a designer myself. We're going to put a lot of draw onto this one anyway, though, as we move on with the hole. 258 yards down, 23 feet. So playing closer to 250. And with that wind, then we're playing the 5-wood in. But as you can see there, we're on quite the upslope. So I think I could have possibly gotten away with driver, just not sure. But massive hook off the fairway there for our second shot. With that close contact, we are going to find that bunker. We're just going to take a nice lengthy pick shot out. So 16 yards to the hole. And that is just going to drop itself on in. Definitely worth another look. Not very often. Get a pick shot out of the bunker and get it to drop in. Even the splash shots, actually. Although I more favour the picks these days. So as we move on to hole number 5, we have yet another par 3. This one measuring 199 yards. Plenty of water in play. But again, unless you've got a very, very strong wind pointing you in that direction, shouldn't have much to worry about. 2 bunkers, again, guarding the front and right side of the green. Quite a generous size green as well. With a very attackable pin location for pin set number 1. And it's playing down 21 feet as well. So playing closer to 192. And then we take off for the wind. You're talking more about 185-ish to the pin. So just count in the rollout then. Put some attack angle, some loft and spin on there. And then just proceed to massively push the ball to the right. And we are going to find our second bunker of the round. Just going to see if I could be cheeky and drop this one in as well. Similar sort of distance. Good contact. Bit of an overswing though, so we just went a little bit past the hole. Unfortunately on that one. That's going to leave us 6 foot for the par. And keep us at 4 under for now. And we will drop that in. Hole number 6 is going to bring us another par 5. This one measures 497 yards. So another one sub 500 yards. And this one is playing slightly uphill. Teeing it off over water once again. Nice wide fairway. One large bunker down the right, 2 down the left. And then we've got a big approach shot over water once again. Very long bridge then to drag your golf bag across as we attack this green. A very large green, so more than attackable. Got 3 bunkers guarding the front, but with the pin location for pin set number 1 shouldn't really be an issue. We are more towards the back. I do believe I actually can't see it from here, but as you can see, we got an 8 mph tailwind off the tee, so this is certainly a 3-wood off the tee. I'd say if you had a nice good headwind, you will be okay with driver, but with a tailwind, it's got to be 3-wood all day. Bit of draw off the tee. Got it perfect this time. And that is going to get us nicely down there. With about 288 yards off the tee. So I'd say with driver, I felt just a little bit uncomfortable. Might have ran out of fairway. And not being able to comfortably attack the green in 2. But as you can see, yes, there is the pin towards the back centre. So plenty of space to run the ball up. It is running uphill towards the pin all the way. It's 257 yards, up 27. A little bit of close contact, but we are going to comfortably carry over those bunkers, touch it down on the green. And it's going to run out nicely and leave us with a very good look at our first eagle on the scorecard. So we're left with 21 feet up 2 inches. Again, brake's not too aggressive. Gonna go about 1.5 out. A little bit of a pull off the face of the putter there, and unfortunately it's just not going to turn enough. But that will leave us with just a simple tap in for the birdie and take us to 5 under par. So hole number 7 brings us another par 3. This one 158 yards. Teeing it off over water once again. And we got very generously sized green once again, and we got 5 or 6 bunkers guarding this one. But again, very attackable pin. It's towards the back. Just have to be mindful that there is a little bit of it's a bit of a 2-tiered green, so if you come up a little bit short, you're going to leave yourselves, as you can see there, with a massively long putt. If you do hit that slope, you're going to come rolling all the way back. But we have got ourselves 5 mph wind, angle from behind, 158, going to play closer to 164. All about 159 with the wind. That's to the pin. A little bit of a push off the tee once again. And I am going to come up onto that slope. Trying to remember, did I roll back far? I think I was just at the base of the slope. So we're not going to roll back too far. That's going to leave us with 21 feet up 1 foot. Breaking out to roughly around about the second green line. Did it turn enough? I can't remember. Nope, we are just going to burn that left edge once again. But we'll tap it in for the par and stay at 5 under for now. So hole number 8 is going to bring us a downhill par 4, measuring 395 yards. Over water once again. And those 3 bunkers guarding the right side of the fairway is roughly around about your landing area if you're not playing on Powerhouse archetype. And then we've got a number of bunkers guarding the front and sides of the green. Should really only have to worry about that front bunker, as it's fairly straightforward par 4. Got a nice central pin location once again. 5 mph wind from left to right off the tee. As you can see, I'm on the sculptor archetype, and with good tailwind, you've got a very, very good chance of leaving yourself just shy of the green, even without being on the powerhouse. And we'll get it nicely down into the fairway. Off the tee, so 340 yards. And that's going to leave us with 54 yards in. Well, slightly below the feet. So this is a spinner all day for me. And a little bit of an underswing, but that will play it perfectly. Took it up there nice and close and give us a tap in for the birdie. And that will take us to 6 under par. As we move on towards hole number 9, final par 4 of the front. And this one is measuring 373 yards from the tips. Got 2 bunkers guarding the right side of the fairway. Got to be mindful of the water down the left as well if you do have a strong crosswind from right to left. And then 3 bunkers, well, technically 2 guarding the front and right side of the green. Don't really need to worry about that one on the left. But yeah, and just another straightforward par 4. Nice central pin location once again. And I'm trying to remember, did I overpower it? And can anybody actually tell me if I did, if it is this hole? I know I did it on a couple of holes. But as you can see, yeah, actually, I think I did do it on this hole. Because we are more than comfortably getting over those fairway bunkers and leaving ourselves fairly short. But yeah, I've hit an overswing 108%. Can anybody, because I have not been paying attention, when did that become a thing without the power drive? Because I don't use power drive or anything like that. I just hold back on the stick for the backswing just to give it that extra boost. And up until recently, until I noticed during this round, I've only been able to get a maximum of 103%, but now all of a sudden I can get 108. I don't know when that was brought in. I haven't done anything different, even with the fittings, even with the fittings prior to me noticing this maximum 103%, but now I can get 108 apparently. So I don't know when that became a thing, but we are left with 14 feet for the birdie. Very little break. We're going to tuck that one in. And that will take us to, what is it, 7 under par, I think. 7 under par through the front. So let's see what the back 9 has in store for us. So to kick things off on the back 9, we have for hole number 10 a par 4. And it's quite a long one, 537 yards. And it also plays uphill. 2 bunkers guarding the left, 2 and 3 guarding the right. They are, provided you have actually got good conditions in your landing zone. And if you've got very strong headwinds, if you're not playing on a powerhouse, you may actually struggle to actually reach the fairway. And then we got a long second shot uphill still and over water into this rather generously sized green. Good pin location for pin set number 1 and protected in front by 2 bunkers. So as you can see there, it is uphill 84 feet off the tee. So it is playing more along the lines of a par 5. Now I was defaulted onto the 3 wood there. Do have comfortable reach onto the fairway off the tee with the conditions that I have. But as I say, if you're playing in a society or something like that and the winds are set up to high, very high, you could potentially struggle to get up onto the fairway. I didn't look there. I didn't notice if I did actually overpower it for 108% again. I may have done. I'll actually have to have a little look back at it now in a second. But as you can see, then we are going to be taking a 3 wood at 3 wood at most. 5. I go 5 wood here. It's not too bad, but again, a little bit of a bad hit, and it's a par hole all day. But we do hit quite a perfect swing, bounce ourselves onto the green, and it just runs out. Can't remember exactly how close we got it, but it's trundling its way to a stop. So that looks like it's roughly around about 10 feet, maybe just inside. Gives us a good look at a birdie. So we're left with bang on 10 feet, actually. Not too much break in it. But again, had good conditions. And unfortunately, I didn't have a good swing on that putt, so just burned that left edge. So even with calm and decent conditions, it can still play as a par hole as it did for me. So for hole number 11, we've got our first par 5 of the back 9, measuring 653 yards off the tips, and it also does play uphill. So similar to the previous hole, this is actually going to be a case of, you'll see that bunker there on the right-hand side with driver from me on Sculptor. If I had anyway very high winds, higher very high winds, I may well have struggled to reach the fairway. Might have just about barely gotten onto it, but certainly would have struggled. Nothing really too much to worry about apart from those two bunkers I can't remember, and then the two on the left also here on the fairway, if they are within reach from a second shot, or if I can carry over. And then we got 4 bunkers guarding the green, 2 on either side, but a generous size green once again, and quite an attackable pin location for pin set 1 also once again. So as you can see, 653 yards off the tips, uphill 33 feet is what it's playing to the hole from there. 6 mile per hour right to left crosswind, and we are perfectly in range for that bunker. Off the tee, but we do hit a good shot. Wind brings it nice and central onto the fairway. Also, I didn't notice we do have that little pond of water there on the left, so you'd have to be mindful of that if you have a little bit of a habit of hooking the ball, especially if you've got a strong crosswind. There's some of that texture coming up on the left here again. You should see it now once the camera changes. Just there, we're actually heading right towards it. Can anybody tell me, is that actually, because that just looks like the default terrain, and I feel like it's just some heavy rough. I don't know if it's supposed to be heavy rough and it's just doing that weird effect that it sometimes does, but it looks well around the rocky areas, but just around the trees for some reason it doesn't look right for me. But another nice swing, hit our approach in there for our 3rd shot, and that will give us a somewhat decent look at a birdie from 23 feet up 2 inches. Should be hopefully breaking no more than 1.5 out for this one. Big pull on this, and that's going to cause it to just burn that left edge again. So unfortunately, that is back-to-back pars, and one of them being an actual par 5. Keeping with the lengthy hole team for the back 9, hole number 12 is a long par 3 measuring 242 yards. Over water, rocks in front, 2 bunkers guarding the front, 2 to the right. Again, we have got a decent sized green, but it is a bit of a trickier pin location for pin set 1. Just right tucked at the front center there. And it's also playing uphill 9 feet up, so playing closer to about 245 yards. Got a little bit of a headwind, so it's going to be a little bit of overpower on the 5 wood, or really choke down and loft up the 3 wood. But I went with the 5 wood myself just to try and bounce it up there. At least I'm pretty sure. No, actually I did bump it up. I bumped up to the 3 wood and choked back down to carry it 249. Good swing off the tee again. Just touch it down on the front, but it's still just got a little bit too much pace. I wasn't looking there. I'm not sure exactly how much loft and attack angle I did put on the ball. But once again, we've got a lengthy putt, 42 feet, but not too much in the break. Very, very subtle little left to right at the start. But otherwise, right to left all the way. But once again, we're going to pull that ball to the left, and we're going to miss it by about a foot or so. So that is going to be 3 birdies on the bounce for the back 9 so far, with another par 5 coming up for hole number 13, which is measuring 563 yards off the back tees. And apart from the large body of water down the right, there shouldn't really be too much to worry about off this one. No bunkers off your initial tee shot, although we do have, actually, sorry, I do apologize, we do have that one there on the left. So if you've got a strong tailwind, possible that you could make that one. And then we got a couple of bunkers left and right on the fairway still, and a number of bunkers then guarding that. We've got one directly slap bang in the middle of the green, well, not in the middle of the green, but front center of the green garden there, and then a couple off to the left as well. But once again, another generous size landing area, or green should I say. I'm getting my words jumbled up now. And quite a generous is my favorite word today. Pin location for pin set number 1, with plenty of run up. That's the words I'm trying to get out. Plenty of run up. Yeah, it's just one of those days I can't talk. So yeah, we've got generous wind conditions here. We could cut it over the corner, just as long as we don't massively hook it. That, I've said a few times, was always a tradition of mine back in the likes of the golf club too and stuff. If there was water in play, I was just destined to hit that all day. But I think I've kind of got that one a little bit under control for the most part anyway. But we're left with 243 yards in for our second shot into this par 5. So more than achievable to get an eagle on this one. Plenty of space to run up, carry over that bunker, and let it just run its way out. 3 mile per hour headwind. So put a bit of attack angle, quite a bit of loft spin. We are on a little bit of an upslope as well. Slight close contact, so it's not going to turn back as much off the club, but we do touch down comfortably on the green. And it's just going to run itself out pin high for a very, very good look at our first, I'm pretty sure if I remember correct, our first eagle on the scorecard. Minimal break on this one. Shouldn't be breaking any more than halfway out. Terrible swing, but we do manage to drop it in and get an eagle on the scorecard for the back nine after the 3 pars also. So hole number 14 is going to bring us a 443-yard par 4. Pretty straightforward, dogleg to the right. We got bunkers there on the left. Don't even need to worry about them. They should not be coming into play. The 2 on the right possibly will be, dependent on the wind. And then you got those 3 on the left also certainly in play. Green protected pretty much by just 2 bunkers. That one there to the front right, and then the just off there in the rough. You can technically, I suppose, call the second one there on the left also protect, and once again, just depends on the wind, but fairly straightforward par 4 once again. We have a 5-mile-per-hour headwind, and as you can see, I should still comfortably get over this. It's playing very slightly downhill off the tee, 2 feet down, so pretty level. Hold this one and hit a good strike off the tee. Got that 108% again. Because I do recall when I was playing the round that I was trying to see, was it just a fluke, a once off, and I was trying to see, could I get it more consistent, and how accurate could I be while doing it also each time, because it could certainly come into play and be a major factor in a hole between birdie and par, depending on conditions in many circumstances. But we're left 117 yards in. Good strike once again, perfect all the way, slight overswing. And we'll tuck that one inside 10 feet for another look at a birdie. Pretty much no break, almost dead straight. It's just a matter of tapping it in and giving it enough to get there. Hole number 15 is going to face us up against another par 5, and this one is measuring 616 yards. And you see those trees just there on the right of the fairway. We've got 3 bunkers that are perfectly within distance off the tee, so they are very much in play right at the dogleg. Then we got 2 bunkers if you've got a very strong headwind on the left hand side as well, potential that you could run out to those. That also depends on the course conditions themselves. Second shot, if you want to go for it in 2, is over water. We've got 4 bunkers protecting the front and sides of this once again generous size green. I might do a counter on how many times I've said generous so far throughout this video, because I for some reason I have it in my head. I've said it a lot of times, but it just seems to be one of those words that it's in my vocabulary today. But as you can see, yeah, those bunkers are perfectly within range for me off the tee here with this calm 4-mile-per-hour headwind. We're going to push it off the tee quite badly, and we are just straight towards that second of the 3. And in we go. So we haven't hit many bunkers today, but certainly not where you want to be hitting one on a par 5. That is reachable, potentially, especially if you have got a good tailwind. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to get ourselves back in play, back on the fairway, and go for it in 3. Anyway, of coming up to a close double-digit headwind, and I say I wouldn't be going for it in 2 anyway. But you could possibly take a good overpowered driver shot off the tee and then hit a nice solid 3-wood in there. But we got the perfect there on this approach in, and we are going to leave that one nice and close for another look at a birdie. From 8 feet up 2 inches, there's a slight left to right break, and we'll drop that one on in, and that will take us to 11 under par for the round. So hole number 16 is going to bring us our final par 4 of the round. This one's measuring 400 yards and playing uphill also. And you will see we have got bunkers both sides of the fairway, all of which are perfectly within range off the tee. So I do got to keep that in mind. Also, potentially, I don't know what way I said that word there, but it came out a weird way in my head. You could easily end up in the water off the left there if you do hook it and the wind is right. And then you've got an approach over water once again into this, my favorite word, generous sized green. Good pin location for pin set 1. 2 bunkers guarding this green, but we have also got runoffs all around it. As you can see, the wind is bumped up for me now as well. 10 mile per hour right, or left to right, should I say. That tree right there, just the top of the screen, is your perfect aim point if the winds are good, but otherwise just down the right side of those trees. I hit a bad contact, bad swing path, and we are headed direct towards those two bunkers. So I'll say they are within reach, especially if I have got a good tailwind. Generous, I think there was a generous bit of light rough there. I did whatever way the textures are coming up, but we do end up in the heavy rough, unfortunately. And as I say, those bunkers are perfectly within reach. So I can still get the green, but it's going to be a bit of a longer shot in now, coming out of the rough. Playing uphill 24 feet, 155. So it's going to be about 163 to the hole, 169, 170 if we were playing from the fairway. But we are coming out of the rough, so it's going to play quite a little bit longer. And I don't think I took that into consideration. No, I played it for 168. Bit of a push again. And we're just about going to get it onto the green there and get it to run out a little bit. So we're kind of fortunate with getting on there and getting that close. Leaving us with 16 feet for the birdie. Unfortunately, bad contact once again. But it does actually turn just enough and drop in for another one. Which is going to lead us on to hole number 17, our final par 3, and a very long bridge once again to drag your golf bag over. This one measuring 221 yards. Bunkers guarding the left, bunkers not really too much of a concern on the right hand side. Good bailout area in the front of the green, but again, a nice large green to get into and a good attackable pin location. Pin set number 1. So wind has dropped right back again. 4 mile per hour slightly from behind and to the side. Playing closer to 225 yards, so call about 220, 221 with the wind. Now I'm trying to remember, I did drop back down to the 5 iron. No, sorry, the 4 iron and choke down on the shot. I was thinking maybe choking down the 4 iron would, if I recall correct, just give it enough or more of a chance of getting nice and close by running out. Hit it perfect off the tee. I'm just going to run it up there nicely for another good look at a birdie. From 11 feet. Breaking roughly about a green line out, I thought, but not to be. We are going to miss to the left again. Just saw terrible contact on that putt, but we'll tap it in for the par and remain at 12 under. Let's see what we can do on the final hole. And then to finish off the round for hole number 18, we have our final par 5, which is quite a short, 435 yards from the tips. And as you can see, we've got 3 bunkers down there on the right-hand side. Shouldn't really have to worry about them. It's a nice wide fairway and landing area, so they shouldn't really pose any trouble. I'd say maybe if you have a good headwind, those trees on the left make them into play. You might have to wrap it around with a good big draw shot. Plenty of bunkers guarding this green, though. That one mainly in particular, just at the front in the fairway, should be our main threat. But again, it's not an overly big green, but again, it's a very, very short par 5, and it's not really, it's playing 1 foot down off the tee, so it's not, there's no big elevation changes or anything like that. You should be more than comfortably getting on this one and 2, and really, really giving yourself an excellent opportunity for an eagle. So a little bit of bad contact off the tee, but again, as I say, it's a good wide fairway. And we are going to comfortably land dead center in at 324 yards off the tee. Leaves us 158 yards. Sorry, not 158 yards. 151 yards. I'm looking at my carry distance on my club there. 151 yards in, up 1 foot. So we are just going to play a flat shot in there. Hit it perfect. Wind brings it around and bounces off the pin. Trundles its way back, but who doesn't want to hit the pin on a par 5 for your second shot using just either a wedge or a short iron or something like that? I think everybody would want that. Not too much break in this one for the eagle, but we're going to miss it. As I do in typical fashion. I think I stood here then for a couple of seconds in shock, and then we'll just wrap it up, tap it in for a birdie. So there you go, folks. As we wrap up here on the scorecard, that has been Sunrise Valley, designed by Angus Young14. Overall, a solid course. Really did enjoy the round. Again, just do let me know, any designers or Angus yourself, the textures in the background, is that part of the designer itself, or is it the textures acting the maggot on me again, because I do regularly, I think other people do as well, get that carpet effect where rough and grass textures just sometimes don't load in properly and they appear real flat. And yeah, so I'm not really quite sure myself. But just as we switch over here then to the distances, yeah, there's some long holes in there and there's some short holes in there, and there's plenty of scoring opportunities. 13 under par was the score for me. And yeah, actually, as I did notice there a moment ago, we actually got two eagles on the round, both one on the front and one on the nine. A little bit scrappy, missing some shots here and there, and some bad strikes on the ball. But otherwise, really enjoyed that round. So if you haven't played this one already, do get out there and give it a go. Highly recommend it. It is good fun. It has been, once again, Sunrise Valley, designed by Angus Young14. But that is where we are going to leave this video, everyone. So thank you all very much for watching. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to drop it a like. And if you have not done so already, or you are just brand new to the channel, do consider subscribing. And I will talk to you all in the next one. Until then, take care. Have yourselves a good one. And bye for now.